going on, Rotogrinders? Dean here at Dean 7804 if you want to get all technical on the DFS streets. 5:30 on the East Coast, right on the dot. 2:30 West Coast, 4:30 Tennessee time. So of course, then it's time for the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. It's called Grinderslive, and joining me today for a Friday, it's Jordan. You guys know him better as Blender HD, Blender HQ, Blender. What is it? HD. Yes.
Whatever you want to call me, as long as I'm on top of the leaderboards on FanDuel and DraftKings, call me whatever you want.
Call you whatever you want.
Doesn't matter.
I can call you the winner of steak knives. I'm seeing you on the Twitter machine. So you're chasing the queues, man. I didn't know that. Are you?
I'm not chasing the queues. I'm not playing any qualifiers.
Oh, you're just missed. Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought that's the thing that people use steak. Oh, you know what it is? You're playing contests that are top loaded. That's what you're doing.
Right. Very top heavy. Right. I have a lot of 7th through 15th place finishes this year in large field GPPs, which is like the steak knives level. Right. It's 30,000 the first, 15,000 the second, and like 7 places you're fired. You know, so like it's like the Glengarry Glen Ross. It's like $350. It's like, yeah, 4 points from like 30,000 or 50,000. It's like, nope, 7th place. There you go. Here's a grand. Have fun with it.
Ideally, you say you're running out 150 lineups. If you could build the payout structure, you could build it. Blender, you get to build it when you factor in how you play your playing strategy. Is that what you like the most? Is that optimal for your game? I know it hasn't worked like because of the results, but you like because you get a little goofy sometimes because you embrace the variance of baseball. I don't mind the top heavy in the top 1%. I would prefer if they eliminated the payouts between like the top, like only pay the top 15% of the entire field, which means you don't even cash until you get to the 15th to the 85th percentile. But the top 10 or 20 make flatter. So for instance, instead of 50,000 a first, 20,000, 10,000, 5,000, make it 30,000 a first, 20,000 a second, 15, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, where $1,000 is still like maybe 15th to 20th place. And then I don't care about min cashing. So get rid of all the, 1.5x at, I came in, we're the complete opposite. It's so funny.
Who cares?
We're the complete opposite because I don't love min cashing, but I make a lot of lineups that happen to do mid cash, and I stay alive because of it. And what about the ecosystem, Blender? Top 15%?
No, that's better for the ecosystem.
Well, the ecosystem gets screwed when like 30% goes up top as well. That's
bad. That's the main problem. I'd rather than I don't mind the min cash. Just make it so that in the top 20, you beat 74,000 people. But you didn't beat 74,007 people. And it's like, wow, I made 3x my money. Wow, that sucks.
It's funny. Like I don't even play those contests you're talking about. Tonight, like on DraftKings, I'm playing, what is it? The $18, 20% up top. That's acceptable. That's not ideal for me, but I'll play it. If it's 30%, like sometimes it's like 150 and 50 up top. No, I'm not playing it. But I think I have 8 lineups I'm making tonight on DK. And I like the 3-entry max, the single entry stuff. And I assume you play that as well too. I don't know, I guess.
On DraftKings, not on FanDuel.
FanDuel,
I play $4.44 dollar in a dream stuff. Yeah, I'm going for broke.
I mean, FanDuel's got, especially in baseball where, goofy stuff happens all the time. And you see super heavy ownership in single entry and 3-entry max. And I think that's a good thing. When you come on, it's kind of sort of a different show. And I think it's great to have different takes and different angles. And you certainly have that. And it's good for people to hear it. So
I have the right takes and the right angle.
Well, there you go. You still gonna lack well, how about this? Give me the right takes as far as the slate from a pitching. Could you get pitching right tonight? Because we should tell people in chat. What up, chat? Please, we don't want to keep saying it throughout the show. It's annoying. You guys probably don't like it. We don't like saying it, but just knock it out. Yeah, hit the like button now. It takes you all like 1 or 2 seconds. Jordan, it keeps your coffee warm. What, your orange juice?
Well, I don't drink coffee anymore. It's typically water or apple juice or something. I got mango. I got a mango thing.
What is it?
Amazing mango, Bolthouse Farms. I need to drink more fruit. I need more fruits and vegetables in my diet, apparently.
All right, fair enough. There you go. Knock that out. That keeps it cool. Is that what we're saying?
It does something. It helps you win. I don't know. Whatever we can say to the gullible people that'll press the button. That's what I'll say. I know. It'll help. If you hit the thumbs down button, because I think the YouTube algorithm doesn't even care about that. It hurts your opponents. And if you press the thumbs up, it helps you. I don't know.
hit any button you want.
Yeah, they do that, except for the pause button.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe we're just annoying. We talk loud, we talk fast. All right, yeah. So the Houston game's not playing tonight. No Houston, no Detroit. It's been Groundhog Day, or let's update that reference. Palm Springs, is that what that Andy Sandberg? Yeah, it's been like Houston and Toronto every single day this week. No more Houston. They're off the board. They're not playing baseball tonight. That game has been canceled. There is a couple more games, at least one or two, that's worth monitoring as far as weather. You guys know in crunch time, Kevin Roth will be all over it. As of right now, he has that St. Louis game at orange-yellow, which seems a little bit dicey, and a little bit better there in Cincinnati. It's downgraded to yellow in Cincinnati. Of course, Roth will be on crunch time for premium members later on the premium show. How do you guys get premium? Well, you get yourself $10 off the first month. Link will be going to drop that link in chat for the people there. You can get it just for baseball, or you can get it for all the sports: football, baseball, basketball, MMA, golf, everything with the exception of NASCAR. $10 off either way. So you want to hear what Roth has to say at 7 o'clock as far as Cincinnati as well. Pitching. There's one pitcher. There's a one-pitcher tier tonight. It's Carlos Rodon, which is weird to say if you think about that coming into the season, but he's so clearly the best pitcher on the slate. It's not even close. It's a top 5 matchup there. Lefties against Seattle. Seattle, one of the worst teams in all of baseball, with all the major hitting categories against lefties. And if you just kind of like put a column, I like to do this all the time. I don't know if you do this kind of stuff, but all the strikeout percentages on the season, Carlos Rodon versus the field, he's 36.6% on this season. Second best in the slate is Manoah at 27.3 in a small sample, then Minor at 25.8%, and then Paddock at 25%. Point is, he's clearly above the field, and it's a nice matchup as well. There's Seattle, kind of an inept offense, especially against lefties. What are you doing with Rodon? Because he's not cheap, and also the prices are kind of changing. The asking price on DK for Rodon is basically what we've seen for the number one pitchers all season long. That we saw yesterday, it started to change, where we had Buehler at 11 and change. Maybe that's just a whole new system, a whole new way they're making lineups. They're making salaries on DK, but it's a big, steep price for Rodon, and there's a lot of good bats. Of course, the Houston bats were throwing out, but Toronto's still facing Matt Harvey. We'll talk about that soon enough. What do you do with Carlos Rodon?
Carlos Rodon on DraftKings has a 5.5 point higher projection, raw points, than the next highest pitcher. Mm-hmm. He has an 8 point higher projection, raw point wise, than any other pitcher on the slate. The next one would be Paddock. I know. Well, now it's a 12-game slate. It's hard to avoid him. It's hard to build lineups that give you enough projection when you're going to be guaranteed to give up at least 5.5 points at pitcher, kind of no matter what you do, because the pitchers underneath him, no one's that special, and they're not cheap. So like Paddock, we're talking about DraftKings. Paddock is 8.8, Minor's 8.7, Pablo Lopez is 9.3, Minaya is 9.8, Cueto is 8.2, Kikuchi's 9.2, Framber Valdez is 10.2. Like the price drop, like you could fit things in on DraftKings. There are cheap hitters in some of these stacks that, like, to go down from a 10.7 pitcher to get a 9K pitcher is 1,700, but you're dropping 8 points in projection in order to do so. My attitude is that if you're going to play on DraftKings, especially, like, do you play 2 of those 9K pitchers? It almost makes no sense. The problem is, not to cut you off, but the problem is, and this is not a victory lap. We talked about Anthony K yesterday, and I by no means thought he was going to do what he did. And I played a good bit of K, and I'm sure a lot of people, I think it was about 20% or so, something like that. But there's no Anthony K on this slate. You go ahead and find that guy for me that's like not even 4K or 5K or 6K, even 7K. Like if you want to make the argument for Dunning, who like only goes so deep, but what's his ceiling? There's just nothing. There's nothing down there. There's a 4K guy pitching for Jax, pitching for Minnesota. Griffin Jax expected to be the possible long man. But he's not special. He's like 26, 27 years old, not a lot of Ks. In theory, I suppose he can go 5 innings or so. But the problem is everybody's overpriced too. Like just look at Gonsolin is 9.5K. Like I'm sure you've noticed this, the DK pitching prices, it's hurricane prices. That's what's going on here, right? It's hurricane prices, so why not pay up for the premium? We currently have Rodon projected own 41% on DraftKings. We have him at 34 on FanDuel. I think that's too low. I mean, if he's going to come in at 41% owned, I think he should be higher owned on a 2-pitcher side, especially. I mean, on FanDuel, at least you could make the case since it's a 1-pitcher side. Okay, I'm going to say I could save on FanDuel. It's 11-2 for Rodon, 8,500 for Paddock, 8,200 for Minor. Lopez is 8,700. Like, you're saving 3,000, not just like 1,700. So actually on FanDuel, and also on FanDuel, since you only play 1 pitcher, if Rodon just has an average game, there are a lot of pitchers you could play that could beat a single pitcher. But when you're forced to play 2 pitchers, I almost feel like I could get different. I'm much more likely to maintain a high projection and get low ownership by still play Rodon and not give up those 6 points.
I did make a shell lineup on FanDuel with Rodon, and I did still obviously you're giving something up. He's not super easy, 11.2K, but there are some cheap guys on FanDuel to make things work. So I got Rodon with 2 big bats with Stanton and Acuna, and I still have a pretty decent lineup around that. So as far as opportunity cost, I didn't get a lot of Blue Jays. We'll talk about the Blue Jays soon enough. As far as the sticks, your second favorite pitcher, you can't submit a roster on DK with just 1 pitcher. You got to submit 2. Where else are we looking? I think Paddock is kind of sort of somewhat interesting, but the tricky part with Paddock, he's really good of late. You'll give him that. A lot of Ks. The walk's been down. Arizona still in my brain. I'm pretty sure they've yet to win a road game since Madison Bumgarner threw his no-hitter. I'm pretty sure that's still true, which is just completely insane, like 24 games in a row or something like that. Paddock is a minus. We don't talk about this very often, but is he like a minus 300 favorite tonight? Which is just
he's the biggest. I think he's the biggest favorite on the slate.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's one of the biggest favorites in the season. Minus 315 against Corbin Martin. Arizona, almost definitely they're going to be without Ketel Marte. Did he go on the IL? He's not expected to play tonight. He's injured again.
This Diamondbacks lineup. I'm looking at the projected lineup. Rojas, Smith, Van Meter's batting 3rd. Peralta, Escobar, Walker, Reddick, Varsho. I mean, what am I scared of here? They're playing in San Diego.
The tricky part is
why don't I want to play Chris Paddock?
I'll give you the reason why. And I'm not saying I'm not playing him because there's a meaningful difference as well on FanDuel where I think he opens things up as well. You look at his splits. Historically, Paddock splits lefties versus righties. We can just point to this season. Versus lefties, he's only striking out 20.6%, which that's not great. He's been pretty good, like a pretty good pitcher against them. If you stretch back to last year, actually he's been more vulnerable against righties, but I like the bigger sample as well too. I'm using, of course, the handy-dandy plate IQ tool here. There's a pile of lefties. Arizona, they're not good lefties, but we're going to see 7 or 8 lefties on the Arizona side. Rojas, Smith, Van Meter, Peralta, Escobar, switch hitter, Reddick, Varsho. We presume that's going to be the lineup more or less. And historically, as far as striking them out, 19.6% against lefties, 27.4% against righties. But, if he's not going to see any righties, who cares about that number against righties? Maybe 1 in the lineup, maybe 2. That's your argument against them. But run prevention, he should be pretty good. The lineup is terrible. The equity in the win it's got to have some value to it. Yeah. And also, like, we'll talk about the other options. They're not great. You got a roster too.
Right, but I'm more confident with Rodon than with Paddock. But who says you have to use Paddock as an SP2? I mean, obviously, all these guys that are close to him, like Lopez and Minor, they're doable. But doing the up and down build, I'm a big fan of the up and down build in DraftKings. The stud pitcher with the cheap pitcher.
Who's the down?
I think there are 3 cheaper pitchers. I'm going to say
Okay, so like 8K or something.
I don't mind Johnny Cueto at 8,200 against Oakland. I don't mind. I think he's still. I wish he was cheaper. The 2 guys I'm looking at, you're not gonna like one of them.
Oh no, is it John Lester?
Yes, that is one of them. John Lester at Miami, 6,700.
Dane Dunning.
I mean, you can't get a better matchup in a better ballpark. Yeah, are you going to get a ceiling score, meaning 30 points? No. But can you get 15? Maybe. But I also like Dane Dunning, 6,400 against the Royals for 64. I mean, these aren't FanDuel plays. You wouldn't pay that low down for pitcher on FanDuel. But my issue with Dunning is obviously how many pitches.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's efficient, as long as he's qualified for the win and pitches 5 innings, then you start paying up for bats everywhere and you pay for some expensive stacks or whatever. But the chalk is going to be Rodon Paddock on DraftKings easily.
Yeah, see, if Paddock is the chalk SB2, and again, I'm not here to discourage Paddock, but the difference between Paddock and Pablo Lopez is minimal to me. Similar price as well too. And Mike Minor, lefty there against Texas, revenge game. Minor is a pretty competent pitcher. Again, this is what the slate gives us. I'm not enthused at the prospect of rostering Mike Minor. Usually you roster him when he's like 6 or 7K, and now he's all the way. He's in the 8s now. I'm just pulling up Lester, by the way, for the season. 15.3% as far as the K rate, 8.9% walk rates. Good Lord. But he's in a nice ballpark. In theory, he can go six innings, give or take. And that's something you really can't get out of a lot of those cheap guys. And there are a lot of Ks in that Miami lineup. Outside of Rojas, Rojas makes a ton of contact. He walks a lot too. He's very annoying to pitch to. But otherwise, Cooper's back there from Miami, but Chisholm, we love Chisholm, but the K rate when he's not hitting the ball, he's 33%. Cooper, small sample, 33%. Duvall with 35%. Marte, 23%. Sanchez is, look, we talked about the other day. I love seeing Sanchez in the lineup there against the lefty. I can't remember who it was. The stud for Robbie Ray. I was like, Robbie Ray and Sanchez, a couple Ks on layaway. Maybe Lester will strike him out once. A lot of power there for Sanchez, but obviously he's plenty raw. Collectively, 27.1% as far as striking out. And I understand if you're going to play Lester. This is a slate where you play him. I never play Lester. But I think if you are going to, I kind of get it on this slate.
Right, but on FanDuel, you don't have to necessarily even go down that low.
No.
On FanDuel, it's quite possible I'm only playing like maybe 4 pitchers.
What are those
quite
4?
Possible. I'm going to do my lineups after the show. Rodon, Paddock, Minor, Lopez, and you're done. Maybe you throw in some Minaya, and then you have like Cueto at 7K on FanDuel. Like, I don't mind. It's just that I'm not even sure what lineups I can make with like Cueto's at 7K, Lester's at 6,900. I'm just not even sure what lineups I can make because I could play Chris Paddock or Minor or Lopez at the 8K level.
Yeah,
it seems like I could play everyone I want. So like, what am I getting? I don't even know what the lineups look like that have like John Lester in it. If I put Lester in, let's see, I'm gonna run the optimal with Lester in it. It's like
it's going to have Acuna, and it's going to have like
Castellanos and Muncy and Gary Sanchez. Just how many lineups can I build like that? I guess I can.
You left Minaya
I can do those types of lineups with Lopez in there or Minor in there.
You left Minaya out, and I have Minaya 5th, by the way, for the record, amongst those. As far as the rankings today, if you pull them up, I have Rodon, Paddock, Minor, and Lopez. Those are my top 4 on FanDuel. I had Valdez 5. He's not pitching, so we're going to move Minaya up to 5. And I agree with you. There's no chance I go beyond those 5. Manaya's been a really good, he's pitching well. He's still in theoretically a good ballpark. The wind is blowing out today in San Fran, but also my understanding is they built that ballpark to subdue winds. Last I saw, it's like 25 miles per hour, but I don't know how much that changes things. I did pull up Weather Edge. It wasn't like a monster sample. I don't know if how much you use their Weather Edge there from Roth, but 71 game sample. It's 59 degrees, cool, but the wind's blowing out 25 miles per hour, basically the dead center. 20.2% as far as the bumps in homers, 12.9% increase in runs in a 71 game sample. I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. And that ballpark's just been playing better as is this season, and the Giants have been playing better than as is this season. And Manaya's getting the pick on, and a pitcher as opposed to a DH, and he's in good form. Like he said, how many good starts in a row for Sean Manaea? Like at least acceptable starts, 6, right? And some really good. Why is he not in your pool?
Who said he's not in my pool? He'll barely make it or something. It just
okay.
Doesn't
your FanDuel pool didn't make it.
I think he's more of a play on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. He's 9,800 on DK. I guess you could use him. He'll be 4% owned. I guess. One guy I'm surprised is not projecting as well based on just Griffin Canning. I wish he was cheaper on DraftKings. He's 8K. But that game, Bill Miller's behind the plate, and it's Angels at Tampa Bay. It just seems like a good spot. But the Rays have a 4.57 implied total, so the betting market apparently, Griffin Canning is not a very good pitcher.
He's another guy they don't let pitch very long either.
Right, right.
Yeah,
if Canning was the same price as Dunning, then that would be fine. If you give me a $6,400 Canning, but at 8K, it's hard pressed for me to use him on DraftKings, and definitely not on FanDuel. The number one rule that I have for FanDuel is that no matter what the price or whatever, if I can't confidently think that this guy's going to go 6 innings, I can't. If they can't get the quality start, Like Anthony K yesterday. Like I played him on DraftKings.
Yeah.
He was 4K. But he actually projected pretty well on FanDuel. The problem is, how do you pay 6K pitcher? Number one, you have to, the bats are all going to look the same in K lineups, and he's most likely not going to get the quality start. So I just don't even bother with those types of pitchers. So like Griffin Cannon for 7,300 on FanDuel, like why? Because he goes 5 innings, you're losing 4 points, and if they're not winning, you're losing another 6 points, and that could be a third of his score.
Well, that's not even. It's also about just like outs, like compiling those strikeouts, compiling the chance for strikeouts, and getting outs. And like you said, there's only on DK you used them because it helped you get not just a really good arm with him, but all the bats. It was kind of the best of both worlds. He kind of made things work both ways. We haven't talked about Lopez for Miami. Great ballpark, obviously. This Washington lineup, strong up top, kind of weak down below. Not a lot of strikeouts here outside of Schwarber, and these days he's just banging out homers. But, the hot streak is going down there for Kyle Schwarber these days. But I like Lopez. I think he's, as far as a skill perspective, I think he's probably the second best skilled pitcher on this slate. Would you argue with that? Or at least you could make an argument to say he's number 2, right behind Rodon?
He's up there. I mean, the Nationals don't project very well hitting-wise. So, I mean, I just even look at the hitting projections and go, like on DraftKings, the hitting projections, according to the bat, like the worst projected teams on the slate are
Arizona.
No, actually not. I mean, they're towards the bottom, but the Angels. So that's Josh Fleming, but you're not going to play him as a projected long reliever. The Royals, Dane Dunning, right? The Giants against Sean Manaea. The Diamondbacks against Chris Paddock. The Rangers against Mike Minor, the Nationals against Lopez, and the Mariners against Rodon. Actually, the ceiling of the Mariners is slightly higher than this, about a point or two, than like the Diamondbacks, or the Giants, or the Royals.
Is that raw projection, or is that like dollar for dollar? Like that works.
That's raw projection. Yeah, that's not point per dollar. I'm just talking about raw projection.
Interesting. I don't even know if I know where that is in the bats. I got to find that. Is that in some kind of secret spot? Is that in the secret
chat? Go to the bat and you go to the stacks page, stack projections.
Oh, I somehow missed that, I suppose. So I'll pull it up in a second. I'm curious to take a look at that. Yeah. So what else? Who's your second favorite? Did you expect to be?
I expect to be very chalk at pitcher today.
Would you hit the lock button on DK for
Rodon? If I was playing on DraftKings, which I'm not, I'm playing on FanDuel today.
Okay.
My pool of pitchers would literally be Rodon, Paddock, Lester, Dunning, Minor, Lopez, and that's probably it. I just make. I mean, look. Lester's going to be barely owned, and Dunning's going to be not that owned, right? I'm probably going to be playing some off the wall stacks. Like what? Just eat the pitcher that is 6 points projected better than everyone else. And on FanDuel, like I said, I just named my pitchers. Like it's the same type of thing. You're giving up so much projection by not taking at least one of these top pitchers because it drops off a cliff after that. And I could get different. There are plenty of under-owned stacks today that, if pitching kills me, then it kills me. Whatever. Just there's so many more stacks to play today. I think there's way more offenses to play than pitching. So if I could get different at offense, I don't mind eating the chalk pitchers.
I'm just curious, hypothetically, if you're running like 150 on DK, I know you're not. I'm running
150 on FanDuel.
Okay, but like this is a more DK question.
Okay.
Would you be willing to just click the lock button on Rodon?
No, I don't lock anything. So no,
come on.
But
take a stand.
Take a stand. I most likely if I were to build 150 in the bat flip or whatever, I'd probably have more than half my liners would have Rodon in it.
Yeah.
But
that's like the field.
60 to 70% Rodon.
Yeah.
But that's also a byproduct of the stacks that I'm playing. It's like if you're going to play the Blue Jays today, maybe those lineups, maybe you don't play Rodon.
They're expensive.
If you're going to be playing, I don't know who else is going to be chalky now that Houston's off the slate. I can understand that, but I mean, my attitude is once we get the bats, you're going to hear me say Toronto's the chalk, and I'm not going to have much of them. So that's why I'm going to have a bunch of Rodon.
I have one thought in that Toronto stack. We'll talk about it in a second. Like one reason not to play them, besides ownership. Obviously, ownership's a strong reason not to play them. Give me the summary as far as arms. Yeah, Rodon. Obviously,
we repeat the same things all the time.
Somebody just joined the show. They just joined the show.
That's one of the buttons they could press. The thumbs up button, or whatever. Have the rewind button.
Well, then they're gonna miss. They're gonna be behind. It's gonna be a whole thing because they're gonna watch crunch time.
Rodon, Paddock, Minor, Lopez, Minaya. If you want to get frisky on DraftKings, Dunning, Lester. I think Cueto is at like the line of like if you want like safe, like if some other of these pitchers implode, Cueto could show up with a nice 18 to 20 point game on DraftKings.
All right, I'm just trying to see what I see. The thing is, the 2 through 5 is so close for me, and I might.
Right, but one is so far away that why you actively trying
because
to.
I'm playing on a site that I need to roster 2 starting pitchers.
I'll roster Rodon twice. I'm gonna write him in. I'll write him in my assessment too.
Rodon doesn't matter. I'm just playing him on DK, and that's that. I'm gonna have 8 lineups, and in my brain he's on every single lineup, and whatever. We'll figure it out from there. But Minor, Paddock, Lopez. Those 3 are just interchangeable, kind of. I don't know. Like Paddock is supposed to be like it's a bad collection of lefties, but that's what he's. You want him against some righties. And I'm assuming it's gonna be a pile of lefties for Arizona. But again, their best hitter is out. It's a completely dead team. They haven't won on the road since 1972. So and the wins on layaway hypothetically. All right. Do you want to talk? Well, you don't want to go around the horn, obviously.
Who goes around the horn these days? No, people play stacks in GP.
Well, I mean, not everybody. So, is 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1? Is that technically a stack?
That ain't stack. Those are. Yeah, that's not a stack. No.
You can pick the best hitter on 8 teams. You win a tournament. Good luck doing that.
Good luck trying to do that.
You can do it at the end of the night. I saw somebody in the chat with pre-show that they were talking about. Oh God, who was the guy? Who was the pitcher that threw the no hitter, or at least the combined no hitter last night versus the Dodgers? They're saying like I told you
Zach
he was
Davies.
going to cross. Yeah, Zach Davies, and it's like okay, if you saw that coming, like that happens at 1, 2, 3% of the time, and that's what happened. I didn't play him. I still survived the slate, and it was a profitable slate for me. I somehow won without him and without Nate Schwarber as well. But all right, so how are we attacking the slate from a stack perspective? Obviously, ownership's going to shuffle up, and I'm sure our team is all over it right now as far as the cancellation of Houston, chalk Houston all week. Hey, speaking of chat, hit that like button once again, or if you haven't hit it once, well, don't hit it twice. If you hit it twice, does it go away? How does that work there, Blender?
I don't know. No, yeah, if it goes away, you have to hit it again. So hit it either 1 or 3 times.
Like odd number
or 5 times, as long as it's an odd number.
77 times.
Right.
And ask some questions. Devin, our fabulous multitasking producer, he's going to be joining the show, Blender, at about, we'll say 10 minutes. We'll see how our conversation goes, but he'll be asking questions on behalf of the chat. How about this? If there's any sort of this guy or that guy questions, I will answer those. I will happily answer those. You can cross your hands and be a curmudgeon about, and I understand why. I get all that. And if there's any strategy questions, please ask, overarching strategy questions or, stack questions. And, we're assuming those are for tournaments, obviously. Blender, you'll be happy to answer those, I imagine. Yes?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. How are you approaching this slate with your stacks tonight?
Anything but the Blue Jays.
Whoa. Okay. Tell me why. That's a good place to start.
They're gonna be twice as owned as other teams, and they shouldn't be. I mean, it's just simple logic. I mean, I'm looking on FanDuel, right? Like I said, I'm playing primarily in FanDuel, but for both sites, it's about the same. That the stack prices and everything are about the same. But according to the bat, the highest ceiling. The game that I liked the most, I liked it yesterday. Yes, it didn't work out yesterday.
Cincy and Atlanta.
That's correct.
Yeah.
They're not going to be unowned. So understand that the Braves and the Reds are going to be owned, but based on our projected ownership, they're going to be 3 times less owned than the Blue Jays. And according to the bat projections, they have higher ceilings. So to me, that's the best of both worlds. A team that projects higher and going to be less, especially with the
bat is probably biased though in favor of the Dark Knight. You'd think, just kind of how that works.
Favor the Dark Knight? What the hell does that mean?
Batman is the Dark Knight.
Oh, okay. Okay, now I get it.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about a specific pitcher. I'm like, who's pitching? That's the Dark Knight.
Matt. Well, he was once I don't think he still is the Dark Knight. I don't know what he is. The Wounded. I don't know. He's not very good these days. Here's like my one argument. You want one argument in favor of Matt Harvey? You ready for it?
In favor of what? Attacking him or playing him?
Well, okay. In favor, you're playing him by not playing Toronto. You're kind of sort of playing him.
Well, no, you wouldn't play him anyway. I think he still does badly. Just that other teams put up more runs.
Yeah. Is the chat now giving me a hard time with that terrible joke? He gets a lot of ground balls versus righties. If you want to give him a skill, if you want to give Matt Harvey a skill, he gets a lot of ground balls versus righties. This season, 50.5% ground balls and only 26% fly balls against righties. Fly balls go over the fence. That's the only way to hit, unless you're hitting inside the park homers, right?
Maybe he gives up 4 inside the park home runs, right? Have you seen the Orioles defense recently? Not very good.
Not as bad as Arizona. Did you see the Arizona when my boy CEO Daniel Vogelbach? You see him running around the bases.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't throw it home. How did he not get thrown out?
It was amazing. The Daniel Vogelbach, the CEO of Team Girth, R.I.P. He's going to be gone for a while, but yeah, he was hopping home on one leg, and then the ball's in the infield. They're just kind of standing around, and good for him. But yeah, so that's my and it's a bunch of righties. Toronto is very, very right-handed. There's only 2 lefties in the lineup. McGuire, who carries, he's your punt, catcher on DK if you want it, and then there's Biggio. Otherwise, it's a slew of righties. So that's my argument to not play a pile of Toronto outside of. And again, it's not a good one, but in a variance, and they're going to be heavily owned. But you're not here to say the Toronto plays are bad, and I'm not here to say the Toronto plays are bad. No. You're talking.
I'm not Xing them out.
Oh, okay.
I'm not Xing them out. It's just that I'm playing on FanDuel. I typically play 4-3-1 lineups. Most likely, I will not have any 4-man Blue Jays. I may still have 3-man, and I may still have 1-offs. I mean, they have a 6.61 implied run total. You're not Xing them out.
It's a big number
on the slate, but I'll be under on all of them. So like they'll be in there, but I'm going to be playing lineups like Braves, Reds. Who else is on the slate? Dodgers? I had so many Dodgers yesterday against Davis. They were 4% owned. How does that not work out? That probably happens again today against Harry.
You should have had the foresight to know that Zach Davies was going to throw a no-hitter.
Well, I did. They were more lower owned than I even thought they were. I thought they would be 8% owned. They were 4% owned. I'm glad to have all of those lineups until like the 6th inning. I'm wondering why no one has a hit yet.
Zach Davies and Nick Pivetta combined for like 12 or 13 no-hit innings yesterday or something like that. Good for them. Yeah. So when you're pumping out your 150, what are you saying? Like, I want 4-man, I want 3-man. Just give me a shuffle. Give me at least 2. Give me at least 3. And it changes based upon the slate, I would imagine. So what are you putting in tonight? You locking in
4-3-1. That's all I run on FanDuel.
Why?
4-3-1. Are you asking why?
Yeah. Why is 4-3-1? Is that's every slate? It's 4-3-1.
Pretty much. I mean, the smaller slates I don't play as often, but
okay.
If it was a smaller slate, then I may do more 4-1-1-1-1 or 3-2s, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But on large slates, on FanDuel, the pricing is very soft. Okay. So you could fit in a lot of people that you want, no matter what stack is. But what ends up happening is if you build 4-4s, you run into clumps. Like it's very if you're going to build a Braves Dodgers 4-4 with Rodon, it's actually highly likely to be duplicated.
Yeah.
Because because the pricing is so soft. If you're going to spend all your salary, now if you're going to build a 4-4 like that and leave 2K on the table, then you're fine. But then also if you're leaving 2K on the table, you're playing Almonte over Acuna. And it's
I don't want
to do that. So in order to mitigate that, 4-3-1s allow that one-off.
Mm-hmm.
So like the one-off could be that expensive guy. I may not be playing much of the Blue Jays, but Vlad Guerrero may be a one-off in a lot of my lineups, or Bichette, or one of the Blue Jays, one of the expensive guys. I may have Nick Castellanos as a one-off, and those lineups project as well or have similar ownerships. I mean, it's like the same type of lineup with slightly less correlation. But if the pricing was tighter, I'd be more likely to do 4-4s. But now with 4-3-1s, I could set my, minimum, maximum salary, whatever, 1,000 below, like to make sure, I don't want to leave 2,000 on the table and still get enough unique lineups with good combinations and not necessarily play the 1, 2, 3, 4 guys from if I'm going to play a Braves Reds lineup, if I don't play Rodon in that lineup and I'm playing Paddock, essentially, I'm going to be playing the 1 to 4 on both sides.
Yeah.
And how many other people are going to be playing a lineup that's very similar looking, if not duplicated in these large field GPPs. So the 4-3-1, since I have that one-off, you know, I could go in a ton of, I could play a Pittsburgh one-off, right? And
do you allow one swap or a minimum one swap, 2v2? How many swaps?
Typically I do 3v3. Typically 3v3.
Really? Wow.
I like playing a more diversified set of lineups, so I don't go broke.
Yeah, that's probably more so. I'm guessing more so from baseball than it would be like for basketball.
Yes.
Okay.
It's more the fact that there's more variance in baseball, and I don't want my lineups to be that correlated with one another. So you'll see me if you looked at my lineups on FanDuel, like when people are like, oh, what are you going to build today? It's like, dude, I may have 12 to 14 stacks today.
Mm-hmm.
Like I may only have 2 Marlin stacks, right? 2 4-mans or whatever, but they'll be in my pool. And if the Marlins go off, maybe I have a shot, right? So I spread it out more. I don't take stands where, like, yeah, I may not have any Toronto Blue Jays 4-mans, but I may have 10% of their 3-mans, and they're going to be mixed in with like Twins and Cubs and Orioles, you know, like 4-mans of teams that are going to be like 1 or 2% owned. Like those are fine. But I need to make sure that my Blue Jays are in those types of lineups, and I'm not playing Braves Blue Jays 1 to 4 hitters with Rodon in the lineup, because then the ownership sum is going to be ridiculous.
Did San Diego crack your pool as far as teams?
Yeah, everyone cracks my pool, dude. Take a look.
Well, if you have everybody, okay. Well, you have like
look how many teams I have listed here. I'll probably play some of everyone.
Do you not have a spreadsheet, or you have a laptop of some sort, right?
No, I have a computer. It's easier for me to reference. Don't you know the age-old trick, Dean?
No.
When you write stuff down, you tend to remember it better.
Yeah, well, I type, I do the body parts. I literally write that down just so it's in my brain, but I do it like on notes on my MacBook or whatever. But yeah, that I learn.
I get to cross stuff out on pieces of paper. I could just go, oh, their ownership's not going to be that. It's going to be this, and I just look. It's easier for me to do it. And then you crumple it up. You do like Letterman, and you throw it behind you, right?
The home office in Sioux City, Iowa. Hey, did you like Conan? You're a comedy guy. Conan's last show was last night. Were you a Conan guy? Conan O'Brien?
I was more of a Letterman person.
Yeah, well, that's also not to be an ageist. That's also because of age, right?
Well, probably. Yeah, because I'm a little bit older, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and 30-year-olds probably are more into Conan than the Letterman, I imagine. I didn't get a chance to watch.
I was into Letterman, the 12:30 version Letterman.
Oh yeah, the Late Late Show was what you're talking about.
Right? I'm not talking about Letterman, CBS Letterman.
Yeah, when he was throwing he was doing goofy stuff on CBS as well. He was
but I mean, not as much as what he was doing at 12:30 at night.
Did you watch? Who's the famous? The American Splendor. What's the guy's name? The American Splendor, the comic book. Paul Giamatti. You have no idea what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about, but no, not.
You can't remember the guy's name for me?
I know Paul Giamatti. I know the actor.
Yeah, the American Splendor movie. The comic book guy used to come. Somebody in chat will let us know for sure. Maybe Devin.
I'm not playing him today. That's all I know. He will not be in my line.
I don't know why I'm sidetracking the show, but I just I wanted to make note of catching that last episode. Andy Kaufman also famously was an interesting guest on that. Did you watch any? You know what I'm talking about? I mean, you said you watched
Andy Kaufman. Yes.
Okay. I thought you were gonna have like an anecdote of some sort.
No, that was way too young for Andy, but for him to be on Taxi, whatever. I was like,
it's on the YouTube though. You can find him.
Of course, sure, but I won't be finding him tonight. He will be out of my player pool today.
I think Andy Kaufman will be like a fascinating tweeter in 2021. All right. What else is worth noting? What are you seeing as far as ownership? Are you taking any big ownership stands as far as like outside of Toronto, obviously, or you think just like not having much Toronto is enough and that's it? Like
I think that's enough on this type of slate. I'm reloading some of our ownership pages to see. I look from the overall perspective. We have, if you're premium, click on the link in the description to get $10 off your first month. We have the top MLB stacks and stack values page, the team smash percentage. Ooh. Now, the smash percentages are all based around the plate IQ projections, not the bat projections. So I don't necessarily look at them, but it'll show me the average ownership of the teams. So at least I can look at that. So like on FanDuel, like I'm playing FanDuel today, what I see right now, we have ownership updated. We have the average ownership of Toronto, about 13-14%, Atlanta 12 to 13, Padres 11, Dodgers about 10, Yankees 9, St. Louis 7, Cincinnati 7, Minnesota 5, and then we've got a lot of teams in 2s and 1s. Yeah. But like to me, Cincinnati in the bat is like the second highest ceiling team. Yet they're going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th highest owned on FanDuel.
That seems too high. I mean, I don't know. Is it condensed? Because that seems just too high for me. I feel like in my head they're like third or fourth or something like that. I don't know why they would be so low.
Well, because people are jamming in Toronto. They're jamming in Blue Jays and Braves. Like the Braves are too cheap on FanDuel. Like if you're playing cash games, you're probably playing Braves today on FanDuel.
Acuna's back too, obviously, which makes that the value of the stack is better. And maybe somebody says, well, I have Acuna and I have Freeman, so I might as well get me some Albies and Riley as well. It drops off pretty quickly. The back half is pretty rough. Swanson is fine, but like who wants to roster Almonte or Contreras when you don't want to roster a catcher on FanDuel? But of course, that's where you come in. You're like, yeah, I'll roster those guys, right? I assume you're playing.
I mean, all I'm doing, remember, I don't care about what happens tonight. All I care about is the probability versus their ownership. San Diego on FanDuel, we have the average ownership of 11%. They're like in the back, they're nowhere close. They're 1-2. They're like the 10th best stack ceiling wise. So that means play less of them. I mean, just they're going to be more owned than their probability. So then I take a look at a team like Boston, like 2.4% average ownership. I mean, I got them higher than the Padres. So if I had to choose between 11% owned Padres or the 2-3% owned Red Sox, well, the Red Sox project better than the Padres. So why wouldn't I play the team that has lower ownership that projects slightly better?
Why haven't we talked about the Yankees yet?
Why not? They're there. I think they're going to be officially on. It's hard for me to judge what this ownership's going to be with the Astros gone now. And are people just going to load up on the Blue Jays with all of that? Because we have them close.
People love picking on Matt Harvey. They've been playing the Blue Jays all week. For the most part, it's worked out. So I don't see why people are going to get away from it outside of salary. And even, I know you're not playing on DK, but their DK prices are really expensive on Toronto, especially the big boys. We're talking 6K in the 6K. And also the other part of it is there's no SP2 you feel great about. So it's a little tricky almost to stack, get yourself
jamming in, Dean.
You can. Yeah, I mean, it's not like 3 running backs and it's a different concept, obviously.
You play Reese McGuire as your catcher, you're fine. There you go.
Yeah.
Jam him in.
Springer is pretty cheap on DK, but otherwise
25% owned. Yeah, if anything, if I'm going to play the Toronto stack on DraftKings, you play it without Springer in it.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think.
From a probability standpoint, yes, he's the best point per dollar play on the team. That doesn't mean he could go 0 for 4. Doesn't mean you have to play these guys.
And the Yankees are cheap too on FanDuel. Like Luke Voigt at 2.5K is an egregious price. I know some of these guys haven't been great this year, but like Gleyber Torres at 2.7, Urshela at 2.8, even Andujar at 2.4. Judge and Stanton in the mid 3s. Well, Judge at 3.9 and Stanton at 3.6. Pretty appealing prices. And Sanchez getting the pick of that monster. He's been hitting better, obviously. I know you don't need a catcher, but that's 3.1K is a really solid price in my opinion on FanDuel. So I like the Yankees as a good pivot. Pivot away from the pivot.
They're still going to be owned. We're not. Oh, you pivot to the Yankees, who are going to be 12% owned. So,
what, 12%? You're telling me 9 out of 10 people are not going to have them, and they're heavily owned
as a stack. I'm talking about average ownership of a stack.
Yeah, well, I'm going like 3-3-2, so I don't really care.
You still? Why not? Why can't you just do the whole damn thing?
Because there's more than 2 teams that are going to have big nights.
All you need is the top 2. Who cares about the third one?
Well, because some guy from another team at 2 homers.
That's why you play a 4-3-1 and you leave the 1 off. You get that Kyle Schwarber double dong as your.
What are the odds? Did you have? Well, you probably had Schwarber yesterday.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, should we bring Devin on for the last 6 minutes or so?
Sure,
Devin's been compiling questions from the chat. I'm sure he has some good ones again. What up, chat? We're not ignoring you. Oh, I did take a peek real quick. No pun. Harvey Picard. That was the guy who I was trying to think of. Remember Harvey Picard?
No.
You've never seen American Splendor with Paul Giamatti?
Dean,
not in a long time, if anything.
Dean,
Devin, have you seen American Splendor?
That's 2 puns you've made on today's show. You hit 3, I'm booting you.
If I get one more, I get
that's the limit on the puns per day.
Smash the over on terrible puns.
Is American Splendor a Shaw movie?
No. It's a reference for just the pregame show conversation.
Man.
It's not. But no, I don't think so.
It probably is.
Watch it. And get back to me.
I've got a couple of stacks here that I want to run down. See if I can get Blender. We have a game now where we run down stacks. Give a 1 through 5 rating on your likability for that stack. We'll balance between each of you once we get to them. So we'll start with Miami. Dean.
How do I feel about Miami as far as a stack?
Your Miami Marlins.
It's funny. My shell lineup currently has Garrett Cooper in it on FanDuel because he's 2K, and he was the only 2K player available. It's fine. 2.75.
Blender.
I mean, they'll be in my pool. I'll rate them like 1.5. But like I said, I like them on FanDuel more than DraftKings. Because on DraftKings, I would want to play John Lester as an SP2, but on FanDuel, I'm not playing. I don't need to play Lester, so I'm more likely to play the Marlins. I will have some Marlins on FanDuel.
Chat's talking about, apparently has boots on the ground, that it's potentially raining in Buffalo. Just keep an eye on that. Of course, Roth will be all over that in crunch time. Buffalo, of course, is where Toronto is playing. So that would be that would matter. That would be important. Keep an eye on that weather-wise. Go ahead, Devin.
Which leads us to our next stack, Toronto.
I mean, am I setting? I'm setting the bar. I mean, there are four. They're a strong stack, and of course, there's ownership and all that. But yeah, to say it's not a good stack would be outrageous.
Well, it's your perspective, right? How in your player pool, what's your rating?
4 out of 5.
Blender, 1, 2,
2. Not 1. 1. Is it a 1 to 5 rating or a 0 to 5?
Oh, it's a 1 to 5 rating.
Okay, so 1 would be none. So
you get a courtesy 1.
Right, so 2.
Sure.
It would be a 2. I still have some Blue Jays, but I'll be severely underweight them.
A good thing to note. San Francisco.
But only because of ownership, not because I don't think that they're a good stack.
I thought about
They're more owned than they should be.
I thought about adding the Blender clause to this game we play.
Blender clause.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go dressed like that for Christmas. Blender.
Oh, jeez. Giants.
Tim Allen, direct.
I'm suppressing the urge to make a reference there, Dean. But yeah, Giants.
I had to get the over. It's 3.
The Giants are barely in my player pool, so like 1.5.
I don't know what to do with that team, and they're also super annoying because like when a righty comes in, they'll get pinch hit for. I don't know. I've been under them all season long. 2.25, but I have no read on San Francisco. Oh, Slater's 2-1 and Ruff is 2-2. They're really cheap. I'll tell you that on FanDuel.
All right, we're gonna have to officially go into lightning round. Mariners.
There it is.
Grant's not on, so we'll have to give a take for him.
It's a 1. They stink.
Well, I'm going to be playing so much Rodon that probably not. But if you're gonna go down, like I know it's lightning round, but I need an explanation for this. The Mariners rate higher in the bat than the White Sox, the Nationals, the Rangers, the Diamondbacks, the Giants, the Royals, the Angels.
Really?
They rate higher than that, and they're playing against the pitcher that's going to be
Chalky.
50+% owned. I'd much rather play the Mariners over the Giants just due to that fact. Because if the Mariners hit Rodon, you're going to kill like 50% of the lineups.
Is Jay Buhner, is Edgar Martinez and Kenny Griffey, who's playing today for the Mariners? I've not seen their official lineup, but okay. I like Haniger as a one-off.
I knew one of those names. Dodgers.
Kenny Griffey Jr.?
Dodgers, Dean.
Dodgers, 3.25.
Quarters? What?
Yeah,
Really?
you gotta get technical.
Okay, so then I'm going to rate the Dodgers 4.437.1.
Limited at 2 digits. Two digits after the decimal.
Now you're not taking this
Here at
seriously.
100,000. Can I do that?
Pittsburgh. Let's get there.
Pittsburgh.
Oh, they're so terrible.
I got a little 1.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna prices right you. I'm gonna 1.51.
Gosh. Oh, geez. All right, and we'll end the stack section with the Yanks.
I think the Yankees is different on each site. I would be more likely to play them on DraftKings than FanDuel only because of ownership. I think they're going to be a little overowned on FanDuel.
I got a 4.
All right.
I'll rate them as a 3.1415. I'll rate them pie.
So we are coming up to the end of the show. We're going to knock out a few more of these. Just put your thumbs up, thumbs down if you like this.
Oh.
DK tournaments, Toronto SP.
Oh, Manoa?
Oh, we both did the same.
Yeah, in the middle. Neither. It's neither one.
Arrieta.
Oh, no.
Ugh.
2 thumbs down.
Canning.
A little expensive.
Manoa.
We just said Manoa.
It's the same.
Oh, I guess that is, yeah. All right. Love with pair. Do you like pairing Rodon and Jax on DK?
Jax, don't play him.
Good name.
No, play Dunning. Play Dunning or Lester if you're an SP2.
It's
Don't play
so
Jack.
gross.
Don't play a guy that may not even pitch more than 3 innings.
All right, and we'll get this one from Mark here. FanDuel tournament single entry. Yanks bottom of the order stack, sprinkled with Cincinnati and Toronto.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not sure if Frazier's DHing or not, but he's a guy that can get the hook for defensive purposes. Like, they'll bring in Gardner sometimes, but he's like 2K or whatever. So, yeah, I'm fine with it. There's some decent names down there.
Yes.
It's a way to be a little bit different.
And
is that the show, Devin?
That's
unfortunate.
Unfortunately, we're out of the time here. We got a lot more cues, but we weren't able to get to them. So sorry to those that we weren't able to get to.
If you guys happen to be premium members, you can go ahead and copy and paste those questions and ask those questions to. Is it Dave Potts? Jesus good. Is that his
Dave
name?
Potts and Christy Metzger with Roth today.
Christy, Dave Potts. Of course, you all know Potts, a two-time millionaire winner. He writes the musings 5 times a week as well. Christy crushes the cues. She's been to plenty of live finals as well. And Roth will tell you what's going on weather-wise. Blender, you want to give a final thought before we step aside and get out of here? You got to be quick. You got to be efficient. What's going to take this slate down?
I don't know, but I'm gonna have a lot of chances to do it. I don't care. I don't know what's gonna happen. Why do you ask me this? All I care about is what's gonna be much more likely to happen than they'll be owned. I think the Reds will be Reds and the Dodgers are the most under-owned teams today.
We're experts, and you're supposed to know what's gonna happen.
No, I'm supposed to know how to play DFS. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I know. I like poking the bear. That's Blender. You guys can catch Blender. He does a show 11 o'clock Monday through Friday, a strategy show. It's worth a listen for sure. That's one reason to hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button as well on your way out. If you guys are premium members, again, Dave Potts, Jesus good, along with Christy, along with Roth's weather. That was Devin as well. That was Blender. This was definitely baseball. I was 100% Dean as well. Enjoy your weekend. We're out of here. Crush it today.